Hello, and welcome to Somerset Highlander. Tuesday, 7th of June, late afternoon. As you can see, it was very wet actually for 3-4 days, so the garden took a bit of a battering, but it bounces back really quickly. But just thought I'd give you an update. As you can see, we've got a number of plants growing on beautifully now. I did trim the grass. I'm regretting it. It looks a little bit artificial, but hopefully it'll soon start to come back into a more natural look. But as you can see, we have continued to see the cottage garden growing. It's in shade at this time of day now. It's looking good. It's coming on. Slugs haven't damaged anything too badly. So the Amalantia is starting to get some berries, starting to grow, which is lovely. And it's starting to show that classic sort of red leaf, russet leaf, as the season wears on. So I think that's going to look stunning later this year. And this cherry tree is doing okay. It's just getting a bit bent in the wind, but it seems to be okay. And then behind it, obviously, we've got the rowan tree that's just settling in nicely to its position. As you can also see, the hedge, I've trimmed it back and tied it in places, but it is doing really nicely now. A lot of Mexican fleabane is settling in as well, one of my favourites. As you can see, it's doing really nicely. And we have a few roses coming through now. And then if we come to the back gate, you start to see across. What I really like is the views you get beyond, so you're starting to see the green hedge fill out beautifully. We've got these obelisks or supports for some roses that are in. These are from our old garden before we dug it all up, so they're doing well. Nice bench here, really catches the sun in the morning, and it only goes into the shade about 3 o'clock in the afternoon maybe. But as you can see, the views through are really nice. So this took a bit of a battering from the weather with the rain. As you can see, I've cleared some of it up, but actually other roses are coming in and they smell amazing actually. And then over here we've got this other rose which will tie in once it starts to really get going. That's going to be the climber. It'll climb up here and then we come through. So you can see from here, what I like about this is it is wildlife friendly, but obviously we have some neat lines for where we want to use it as well. So we got half and half. We tried to give as much over as we could to the wildlife without actually compromising our being able to enjoy the garden sitting there. And it's interesting whichever view you have. And this wildflower meadow, it's the gift that keeps giving. We never know what's going to come up next. We've had Sweet Williams, asters, obviously the red clover you would have seen previously, and the latest now is the poppies, red poppies. I love red poppies. We have some more asters. We've got the Banksia roses. We're going to tie them in tomorrow hopefully. And then also on the canes we've got our hollyhocks. Not sure if they'll survive, but we'll see how they do. So you can start to see the wild effect we're getting here. This is really just one season, but it's looking lovely. Obviously the pots are waiting out life a lot better, but you can see it's just everything's just reaching over now, and this is what you tend to see in a wildlife pond. You see a lot of cover and a lot of plants fighting for room, and they just all start to eke over towards the water, which is brilliant for anything that wants to live here and hide here, because they feel they've got enough cover. We've also found quite a few fledglings have taken cover in here when their parents have gone off to find them food. You see a little rustling in the grasses, and then you realise it's a fledgling just taking cover or trying to find an insect to eat. So what we're really liking as well, these little beauties down here, they've come out really nicely the last couple of days. They seem to be liking their new position. So now you can see the blue flag iris has come out as well. So it's just lovely, really liking it, and it's just a lovely mix with your asters, your clover, your lesser spearwort, and all other things. And you can see here we have a nice, I think it's a hoverfly actually, just taking a rest on the leaf. So it was really nice to see the other day. Was our first damselfly, and it landed quite happily. And we thought, oh, that's nice, at least they found the place. Then about half an hour later, a mating pair came to lay their eggs. So that was kind of exciting. So I suspect there are some damselfly larvae in the pond as we speak. So if they think it's good enough for them, I think it's probably good enough for other things as well, like dragonflies and amphibians. So this is a lovely riot of colour. So you got your lovely asters with the white petals and the yellow heads. You've got the poppies mixed in. You've also got some purple. And one of the purples is one of my favourite insect plants. It's borage. This will self-seed over time, and it's a real nectar producer. It produces vast quantities, and it can replenish its quantities every 2 minutes. So that will sustain an awful lot of bumblebees and other insects like butterflies for a long time. As you can see, as we go along here, we've got a lovely lavender by our bench, and then we have another borage here, and a third one over here. We will plant other things in here, but I suspect over time we'll get more and more borage coming through, and I'm quite happy about that. This has been an absolute success. It's crazy how much this has grown up. The oxeye daisies have really shot up the last couple of weeks. You can see this bank of white and yellow, and these down here will gradually overflow down the wall. And I've got down on the bottom here, these are the fleabane, Mexican fleabane. We've also got a bit of peppermint in the middle there, which we use for herbs. But these fleabane hopefully will self-seed as well into the walls as time goes by. I put it right next to the wall to allow it a chance to grow quite easily next to it. As you swing round, you can start to see it's getting more and more wild. And the terracotta pot, well, the pansies are still looking good, but the tulips and the daffs have had their time, and we'll dig it out soon enough and plant something else for the summer. And then we move over to the hop garden. So over time this will grow up, and really it's a lot of yellows, oranges and reds in here. We've got the red hot pokers coming through at the end, but yeah, it's looking lovely and it's really developing nicely. So you can see here there's a little bit of an infestation on the daisies, but the interesting thing is you'll just see ladybirds coming along, or you'll see, in this case, ants, and they just seem to have a great time foraging for what they need. So the other thing I really like about this is it's always a surprise what turns up, and sometimes you have to look a little bit harder to see little gems just appearing through the undergrowth. As you can see here, this lovely little flower, and they just keep appearing randomly, and that's the beauty of this. We just don't quite know what we're going to have, but I have to say I've been wowed by how good this has been, and if you're ever thinking about doing it, I can't recommend it highly enough. It's just wonderful to look at and to see what it brings in, and to be honest, no 2 days are the same. I would definitely recommend though, if you do have this, make sure you have nutrient poor soil, and that should really encourage it to grow. Sounds a bit of an oxymoron, but that's what you need, nutrient poor soil.